Have you ever dreamed of firing your boss? I'm gonna tell you right now, as a guy who started an entrepreneurial journey in his 40s, it's never too late. In this day and age, most people have a side hustle, maybe even two. And if you don't have one, I know you're considering getting one, but you don't know where to start. Me personally, I went through the DIY space, but that doesn't limit you to what you can do. I'm here to tell you that I've turned a side hustle into a profession, and I'm going to show you this journey. And again, everything I'm saying in this video is objective. It's my personal experience, but I'm here to give you 5 essential tips to turn a side hustle into a profession that I found that really have worked for me, and maybe you can avoid making some of the same mistakes I did. All right, let's join into it, my aspiring entrepreneurs. Did I just say join into it? Let's get into it. See, mistakes are made. All right, so let's dive into these 5 tips. And I will say the last one has been the most influential on me. Here we go. So if you're new here or you just need a refresher, I'm going to tell you what exactly I'm doing on this channel anyway, and one of the pivots I had to make. So I was a bakery retail manager for Publix, and I was starting this YouTube channel as a side hustle. That's kind of what this video is about. And the views got pretty good over the first 3 years or so, to the point where I thought maybe I could go do this full time. So I was averaging over 1 million views a month, and I pulled the trigger. I went ahead and did it. And 2 months after that, we went from 1 million plus views a month down to 250,000 views a month, creating, a $70,000 a year void in revenue. Crazy. What do I do now? Well, if you can see behind me, I've got a bunch of boxes, and I've pivoted from video production to making products to sell to the maker community, kind of to help them stay and keep them organized, well, and have them get back to what they do best, which is probably woodworking. Anyway, that's kind of a brief overview of our ethos and what's going on. Now, let's dive right in. If you've been following for a while, this is the original shop from years ago. Check it out now. This is where it all started. It didn't look like this. To my left was my big French cleat wall. I'm gonna show you some clips of what that used to look like. And this is where I started this entire journey. It's now my wife's second studio here when she's able to get to her craft, and this is a really cool space. But I wanna show you kind of the roots of where things started. And that matters because you don't really appreciate what you have until you realize where you came from. And this journey is pretty interesting. So let's dive into these 5 tips, starting by number 1. Rule number 1 is get out of your head. It's not too late. You can do this. You don't need to wait. You need to do it now. Okay? I wanted to start this. And the woman that is in possession of this studio, my wife, told me, go ahead and just start filming on your phone, because I was waiting for the money to get a DSLR camera and a new MacBook to get this whole thing started. And she says, you're an idiot. Go do it. Figure it out on your phone. Edit on your phone. And I listened. And it took me 3 months to film and edit my first video, but I did it. And that was the genesis of what is now really our lives. Pretty crazy. Whatever might be holding you back, most of the time, it's the space between your ears. All right, clear that up, realize you can do it, and get started. The second thing I'm going to tell you guys is to not take this side hustle of yours lightly. All right, behind me is a shop that wasn't there when I first started. I started in that garage. I took a massive risk, right? I actually took out a major investment, a 401k, to build this thing and to do some other things in my life. Now, that's a huge step, and it was definitely frowned upon by most people. Reason being, I'm going to tell you, the shop video is what most people have seen of mine. It's my most popular video. It's a video where I built this thing from, or had somebody else build it, but I facilitated. I was kind of the general contractor. But here's what happened. The week after that video came out, I released a video about how I did it, the cost breakdown, and even where I got the money, right? I did. I cashed in with a penalty on a 401k. Now, a penalty sounds horrible. Let's just start with this for a second. You know, people go, oh, you're going to take this massive penalty. Well, no matter what age you retire from, you're going to have to pay taxes on that money. And that's typically about 20%. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just telling you my experience. Now, the penalty in most cases is 10%. So, yeah, if you got 100 grand, you're going to have to pay $30,000 to Uncle Sam and the penalty. That's just the way it is. So 70 grand cash in hand, you can do what you want. And that's about what it took to do what I was going to do. From the shop to the pavers to the driveway to paying off some debt from a previous marriage. Anyway, that's neither here nor there, but don't take your side hustle lightly, okay? Make sure you do it with purpose. Now, this past year in 2023, well, we did $150,000 in sales. Now, I think this is the catalyst to tell me that this is worth it, right? So, whatever you're doing, treat it with respect, and you'll reap the rewards. I'm actually in the middle of editing right now, and it got me thinking about not treating this very lightly. There's one thing that I need to tell you guys that I did during this 5 years of trying to build this business, and that was I stopped doing pretty much everything that was enjoyable. I don't want to say it that way, but I stopped playing golf. I stopped doing hobbies that cost money. I stopped investing in things that were leisure that weren't going to be towards the end goal of what I was doing. So I had this mantra of, what are you doing with the time you have that isn't required by something else? You may have heard me say that before. That's a huge part of it too. So, all right, back to the video. Okay, now the third essential tip is to keep throwing spaghetti at the wall and see which noodles stick. Yes, it's a bit of a cliche, and yes, it's kind of an analogy, but it means so much in this world of entrepreneurship that you just can't rely on what's got you here in the beginning. You're gonna have to keep pivoting and moving forward, adjusting with the times, listening to your focus group. That would be your audience, whatever it might be. Now, you don't need a YouTube channel to have an audience. You don't need this type of reach. You can start making products if you would like to on Etsy. They have a pretty powerful algorithm, and there are plenty of creators on there that started there and then went direct to consumer. The point is that you have to just keep trying. The ideas that you have in your head, for instance, this idea of storing glue bots on the wall was a failure at this one. This one works. Product's actually live now. I don't think I've sold any at the point because I just launched it this morning. But the point is that that's a piece of spaghetti. I'm gonna see if it works. You never know. And the thing is that the creative ideas in your head aren't the thing that are gonna make you the money, okay? Yeah, they might be at some point, but it's the effort, it's the determination, it's the grit to keep doing it, to be relentless. In the end, and at the end of the day, the relentless always win, whether they're good or bad, good or evil. Right? Think about that for a second. It's a pretty powerful statement. Plus, I don't mean to just speak in analogies in this video, but that's a lot of the ways I understand things. And so, like I said before, the relentless always win, right? Throw spaghetti at the wall, see what sticks, you get it. But here's the other thing, is that if you're ever in the mindset of seeing someone out there having success and you say, must be nice. You say, must be nice. I'm just gonna tell you right now, if that's your mindset moving forward, you might as well just give up the ghost on trying to be an entrepreneur. It's not gonna happen. Because you're gonna always be comparing yourself to other people, and it's gonna break you down mentally, physically, and you are gonna fail. You need to get that must be nice attitude out of your head. And if you can, that's your first step. Now, before we move on to the fourth essential tip, let's talk about those sales, right? In 2021, I decided to do this full time. I started halfway through the year and we did $42,000. 2022, we did $82,000, but that was a full year's worth of sales. So yeah, for the year, I doubled my sales, but I worked double the time. Essentially, that's flat. There's no growth there, right? And I thought, what can I do in order to improve this? And the fourth tip is you have to get other people involved. You have to take a risk and hire some people, some teams, wherever you feel like your weaknesses are. That's what you need to really be honest with yourself. Now, I will be very clear with you. I have hired over the past 11 months a marketing firm. They take care of email campaigns. They take care of every SEO issue I have on the website. They cleaned up my website because me building it myself, as easy as it is to do in e-commerce right now, it was an absolute mess. Now, I'm not going to tell you exactly what that cost because industry standard could run you $1,000 to $6,000 per month, depending on what you want done from a marketing firm. Okay, I'm just going to tell you, I'm somewhere in the middle, and it has been pretty dang influential in my mind because, yeah, in 2023, we did $151,000 in sales. So what changed? Well, a few things. There's a couple of contributing factors. One, you might could say that the woodpeckers issue happened, and a lot of people came to the little guy, and that's me. We had the best month of our existence in June after that whole thing went down. If you don't know that whole woodpecker story, I'll tell you the story in a video. I'll link it. But the attention that my upside down orbital sander mount got in that month generated around $30,000. It was pretty crazy. But yeah, you can see the increase was not only because of that, but because of hiring smarter people than I'm able to accomplish. And that's huge. Ask anybody in business, ask anybody who's done this journey. Have they involved people that were smarter than they were? Absolutely. And that is huge. Don't be afraid to do it. Don't be afraid to put your neck out there and spend a little bit of money, because you will see the rewards. And so, since this is a video about running a business and being an entrepreneur, guess what? Yeah, it's a little plug for me. This orbital sander mount I just mentioned, it's on sale, 20 bucks off, the DIY version and the ready assemble version too. Plus, I've got spray paint storage, that is 25% off. And you know what? Those glue bike caddies you saw earlier, those are ready to go on the site. Check them out. Now, no apology for this, but the fifth reason on really the essential tips to really make a business work is real personal to me. And I'm not sure how it's going to relate to you, but I've had a hard time trying to get through talking about this next one. And if you know my story, you kind of know why. But if you're new to the channel, buckle up, because I don't want any sympathy from you. But I'm going to tell you exactly why I think I've been able to be somewhat successful here. And here goes. Okay, the fifth essential tip into being successful in this entrepreneurial journey is that failure cannot be an option. Now, I say that not as a cliche. I say that as there was a situation in my life where failure can't be an option, okay? I mean, it literally can't. So what I mean by that is, if you don't know anything about my personal experience, I've made a video briefly talking about how my wife is dealing with something called ME/CFS. I'm not going to get into it all here. Long and the short of it is, the condition is where you don't recharge your human battery when you sleep. You wake up feeling exhausted. So she's up and around with us as a family about 80 days out of the year. So that's why I'm having a hard time getting through this. I do have young children. When I started this entrepreneurial, endeavor, my kids were, how old were they? I'm trying to think back then. We're talking probably 13, and then my two youngest were 3 and 4. And my 3 and 4-year-old, they're autistic. They're on the spectrum. My little boy is a nonverbal little boy. They're actually still in diapers to this day, even at 6 and 7 years old. And so the long and the short of it was, she wasn't able to be awake and take care of these kids. I'd be at work, managing a bakery, calling home, couldn't get an answer. And I would go home, and sometimes there would be an absolute mess. I'm not going to paint a picture pretty vividly here, but a mess with children that can't take care of themselves and a wife who's passed out. So there was this turning road in my mind where I had to be home. I had to be here. And so, like I said, I don't want any sympathy from you, but if you have something in your life that is it seems so insurmountable, and there has to be a crossroads, that's part of what I attribute the success to. It's really, I would have a much more difficult time doing this journey if everything was cushy, and let's say the wife was a nurse and we had insurance through her job and everything was good to go. I don't think I would be as driven as I am because of the situation that I'm in. So again, it's not for everyone. You may have something going on in your life where, there's a turning point where you're at a crossroads where failure is not an option. And honestly, I hate to hear that. I hate to hear anyone dealing with, some adversity in their life. But honestly, out of adversity comes strength and comes success a lot of times. And so, again, I'm still very new at this. I've had a great year of sales last year. I'm not at all thinking that I'm going to rest on any laurel that got me there. I'm trying to be more aggressive this year with maybe getting more people involved. And I'm really just trying to build this up, not for me, but for them, right? My family means the world to me. And this is the avenue and the lens in which you get a glimpse inside into this situation. And so if you have something in your life that's worth fighting for, that's the fifth thing that I think is totally worth it. It's been an absolute blessing to be here and to be home and get the kids on the bus, get them off the bus, and just be around, be ever present for them, and then work when I can, right? When they're at school, when they're in bed, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm still very much a one-man show here, and I appreciate each and every one of you. My goodness, this is tough for me to get through. I think this is like the 5th or 6th take, but anyway, that's kind of the purpose of this channel, is to give you a glimpse inside and to tell you that I'm here for you too. So I will extend out, if you are dealing with anything in your lives, if you have this journey you want to go on, I'll link my Instagram. I'll even put an email down there. I'm not going to give you my phone number, at least not yet, but if you have any questions about this, feel free to reach out. I respond to, I think, everybody. I really do. And thanks for watching, guys. It means a lot. Have a great day. See you later. You guys still with me through all that? I will say this. I do want to say something about my wife. First and foremost, my heart goes out to her. I wouldn't wish what she's dealing with on her worst enemy. She was this vibrant, unbelievably hip and peppy, hairdresser who was tackling the world when we first met, and doing CrossFit like 6 times a week. It was pretty insane. She was motivating to me to get in the best shape of my life as well. And we went to Jamaica on our honeymoon, and long story short, man, she passed out on the plane. Scariest moment of my life. We lived at Mayo for like 3 or 4 months trying to figure out what was wrong. As it turns out, it's called ME/CFS. Basically, it's a big, long acronym for chronic fatigue syndrome. Like I said before, it doesn't recharge a human battery when you sleep. So, there's no driving. There really is not much of being awake for most of the year. It's sad. It's a pretty sad situation. I still have hope, and so does she. We do talk about that she's going to beat this condition one day, and there is still light at the end of the tunnel. We hope so. But I just wanted to be clear that my heart goes out to her. I didn't say that in the previous clip, and everything I got in my well-being, I would sacrifice so much if it meant to have her, just be okay. And again, situations out there are way more grim than this. I'm not painting this horrible picture. I still get to see her and talk to her, even though she's not real active in our lives, and it's unfortunate for her. And we all wish that this could, resolve itself eventually one day. Again, if you have anything in your life that you're wanting to talk to me about in terms of this entrepreneurial journey, please reach out. Like I said, all the contact information is down there. But please, I don't want a bunch of contact information. People reaching out saying, "Have you tried this? Have you tried that? Have you tried this?" We've tried everything. The long and the short of it is we're doing the best we can for our situation, and I'll keep you guys updated. Oh, and by the way, my stepson, he's home from military school. I didn't tell you guys that. He did unbelievably well. He graduated with honors. He was an ambassador there. He's done a complete turnaround in terms of treating things with respect. He's working now. I'm really proud of him. So I just want to give you guys an update on that too. So, all right. That's all I got. Thanks again. See you later.